What's up guys, this is Miasin and welcome to the OCG Metagame Breakdown number 10 and 11. This is definitely going to be an interesting one, so let's get right into it as soon as you smash the like and subscribe button. Okay, so this one covers 143 top-performing decks from 32 tournaments during the span of approximately 2 weeks, like 12 days, whatever, if my maths are correct. I don't even know if that's 12 or 13 days. I'm garbage at everything I do. Anyways, okay, so the number one best deck is Ryzeal. What a shocker. Wow, I was not expecting that at all. Okay, Maliss in second place. But not by a long shot compared to the third best deck, which is Primate Blue Eyes. So I guess this means that the gap is closing more and more and more, because before it was 18.4% and Blue Eyes was at 7.8%. So that's basically more than double. Yeah, okay, so the huge gap, right? Ryzeal 32, and then 18, and then 7.8. Every deck is like double the representation of the deck after, but now Maliss and Blue Eyes, they're really getting closer and closer, which means that Blue Eyes is getting better, or Maliss is getting worse. Or, I don't know, maybe more people are playing Blue Eyes because the deck is not only fun, it's casual friendly, but it's actually good. It's crazy to see that Blue Eyes is, back to being a deck that could potentially, theoretically, win Worlds again. And if that happens, I will be extremely happy, especially if I'm the one winning Worlds with Blue Eyes. Oh, imagine how beautiful that would be. Anyways, Memento in fourth place. Okay, so that's another very good deck. It is a deck that sadly loses to a lot of things like Shifter, Retang C, okay, not Droll, not Furos, but it loses to Nialis and Parolia, a little bit more than Furos, ironically. And it loses to, what else actually? It loses to, crap, I forgot, Dweller, there you go. So the fact that Ryzeal can make Dweller is kind of unfortunate, right? Memento kind of struggles really bad against that, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still a very good deck. Okay, Gem Knight is very interesting. It's just unfortunate that the deck is drastically better in the OCG than it will be in the TCG, just because they have not only Block Dragon, but they also have one Brilliant Fusion. I'm not sure Brilliant Fusion is searchable in the deck. I'm pretty sure it is, but like by a bad card, something like that, and maybe it has like a restriction or something. But whatever, it's like a one-of that if you draw it, you draw it, and Block Dragon does matter, because it's very easy to make a rank 4 in the deck, like almost too easy. You have a bunch of one-card starters, not that many, but you have a few one-card starters that, you have a decent amount, actually, at least 9, that get you to pretty much everything that you want to do. And Gem Knight Holocore is, or Void Roots or whatever, that's like custom card support. I don't even know how, what Konami was thinking when they came up with that card, but yeah, very good deck. But in the TCG, I don't think it's gonna be like super great, just because we're missing so many cards compared to them. Fiendsmith, Azamina, White Forest. It's a good deck, but it loses to the Molchemies, and that's pretty much it. I've seen a lot of footage with this deck, and it's honestly really impressive. Again, they do have Lacrima, and it kind of does matter. I've seen some people like make comebacks with like not only garbage hands, but also they were getting hand trapped to death. And the Fiendsmith engine is the ultimate cheat code at allowing you to push through so much. And you also bait a lot of interruptions with the Azamina package, because you're not really bridging into Snake Eye cards because you're not playing Snake Eye cards in the deck, so that you're playing less bricks. And you're just, when you're drawing like your White Forest hands, you know what deck you're playing, you're not playing White Forest just to summon a Snake Eye board, just to make a Snake Eye board, But yeah, it's like I said, it's a good deck. Crystron, very good deck. Again, I'm not shocked to see it being, like the 7th best deck in the OCG right now. It makes a lot of sense, because this deck, man, nobody really knows what it does, and it's honestly low-key really insane. I've made a video on this deck, and bro, it catches everyone off guard. It actually doesn't suck, and it's very slept on, and I think it's just a matter of time before this deck will start seeing even more play in the OCG. So out of the 4 Crystron builds, 3 of them were pure Crystron, and 1 of them played the Fiendsmith engine, which does make sense considering the fact that they can make a Lacrima into Beatrice, but let me double check if Beatrice is banned in the OCG, because I actually think it is. I think Beatrice is still banned over there. Let me just double check real quick. My god, if I can actually type. Yeah, Beatrice is banned in the OCG, so I have absolutely no freaking idea what the Fiendsmith engine even achieves. But yeah, okay, it's still a good engine, even though there's only 1 engraver, 1 tract, and maybe 1 of something else, whatever. Like I said, great deck. Despia in 8, so it's still in the top 10 best decks, and then it's also tied with like 5 other decks or something. Centurion, Fiendsmith Yubel, Jirac, and Snake Eye. I really despise a Snake Eye with a passion. I don't think it's a good deck at all. Even if you unban Original, if you start limiting Bonfire, Witch, and Wanted, you are better off playing another deck, honestly. There's so many bad cards. It loses really hard to hand traps when people are playing freaking 18 or something, whereas pretty much all of those decks, they're honestly so much better into hand traps. Like, really, really good. Like, Blue Eyes, for example, what are you gonna do? Like, Valor the another barrel? Okay, sure, I hard drew the Lordly Load, and I can just go into the Link one, and then also extra normal summon the Sage. Nibiru doesn't do much against the deck. I showcased combos with, you know, beating Nibiru even when you're playing greedy. Then like, you can still beat Nibiru even when you're when you don't even care about the card. It's absolutely unreal. Okay, anyways, we've got some more decks that are doing not as good. So Atlantean, Fiendsmith, Goblin Biker. This deck sucks, honestly. I looked into it. It plays so many bricks. It plays the Phantom Knight cards, which are cool cards. Don't get me wrong, but they're bricks in any deck that isn't Phantom Knight. I swear to God, I hate seeing, I don't know, like normal summon the badass Goblin Biker, special summon Duck Charger, Surge the Imprisonment or whatever, and then Tribute, and then you summon another level 3, and then you're like, okay, you're gonna make the Goblin Biker Exceed. No. Cherubini, send a Phantom Knight, Rusty Bardiche. It's like, bro, how many bricks do you want to play in a deck that I think is already not good enough going second? Honestly, it doesn't even have a favorable Ryzeal matchup. I mean, like, you would think that the matchup is, like, free because you keep detaching the materials, but bro, the freaking Detonator has, like, 4 pops anyways. What are you gonna do? Like, make them lose one of the 4 pops? Okay, sure. Ooh, they're still playing a better deck than yours, but whatever. 10 by Dragon, great deck. Even in the TCG, I think 10 by Dragon is, like, in the top 3, top 5 best decks. It's just that, again, nobody really knows how to play this deck. It is very complicated to build, even though... yeah, it's just, you have to, like, compensate for the loss of, like, Kaimin and Chandra. There's a good reason why I'm saying this, by the way. It's not really because, you know, I want to talk positive about decks that I hate. Trust me, I have better things to do than praise 10 by Dragon. I despise that deck with a freaking passion and a half. Anyways, branded Bistil Buster Blader. Buster Blader engine, very good, by the way, thanks to the new Mausoleum of White, so that makes it so that Sage with Eyes of Blue is a 1-card combo in your deck, and you can do a lot, actually. You can Dragon Buster, Destruction Sword Lock, which means that even if you get, like, Dark Ruler or something, well, guess what? Your opponent still loses. Nice deck. Fiendsmith Unchained, okay. Fire King, Gimmick Puppet, Gladiator Beast. Yeah, the new support is something that you can afford to ignore. Despia, Hero, whatever this is, okay, what the heck? No, whatever. Primate Fiendsmith, okay. It's an okay-ish deck, but only one? Okay. Anyways, Cyber Dragon, whatever, okay, who cares? Wow, Voice only one. That is insane. Yo, it went from being like a 3rd best deck. Actually, it was the 3rd best deck, like, not even that long ago. Hold on a second. Or 3rd or 4th or 5th or something. Yeah, 10 Voice. There you go. From 10 Voice to 1 Voice. Literally last place. That is wild. Anyways, let's get into Akira's article, which, again, by the way, this guy is like the biggest legend on Earth. God bless him, seriously. I honestly, I wouldn't even know, like, what kind of human being I would be without Akira existing around. But yeah, okay, so he pretty much made a post saying this guy right here, Sonoda, explained how he beats Mochimi Furos and how he beats Mochimi Purulia. And it's very interesting, and I actually covered this in either, like, some of my videos or when I make coaching sessions, but eventually, essentially, people, when they get hit by Purulia, whether they have Ice Ryzeal or X Ryzeal as a starter is different, and same thing with Furos. For example, Ice Ryzeal plays hard into Furos because if you want to make one single rank 4, you give 2 draws to your opponents. And then if you want a full combo, then you give 3 draws to your opponents. So if you have Ice Ryzeal and you get hit by Furos, you might as well commit to making the full board, because, yeah, sure, you're giving your opponent 3 draws, but you are giving 2 draws just for making 1 Detonator pass. So what is 1 more draw when you're, you know, searching the field spell, you're searching plug-in, you're doing so much more. So I actually do agree with Sonoda and his, reasoning of just saying, you know, screw it. If I have Ice Ryzeal and I get hit by Furos, I'm just gonna full combo anyways. But if he gets hit by Purulia and he has Ice Ryzeal, then he's just gonna make Detonator pass, unless it's the mirror match, because Detonator pass against the mirror match is not great, because if they start with X Ryzeal, send Aggregator, your Detonator is gonna be so much worse. Even if you have, like, Twins of the Eclipse underneath, it's still not gonna be as good, just because you're gonna have to self-destruct, and then it comes back with 2 pops, which is fine, but then if your opponent's, you know, if your opponent has a lot of engine, then maybe it's not gonna be enough. And obviously, your opponent has the 1-card starter, which can make freaking triple, like, rank 4 Xyz monsters. Chances are you will be at a huge disadvantage, and also your opponent didn't have to neg to make you in that position, because he's using 1 card, but he's also drawing 1 card for the fact that you're making a rank 4. So again, that is very logical. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say, by the way. If you're still confused, just whatever, ask any question in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer, even though, again, I'm not home. I still have a lot of time to kill. Not really, actually, I'm very busy, but I'm still gonna make time for you because you're important like this. Anyways, there's another thing that is worth mentioning. No, I think I explained it. But Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I already kind of explained how a single detonator is just not good enough because X-Razor Send Aggregator pretty much breaks the board. So you might as well just say screw it. If you gotta give 2 draws to your opponent, what is a 3rd draw gonna change to your life? Because again, the field spell and the plugin is so much, it's so broken that just giving 1 draw to your opponent doesn't matter. And then he's also back to playing Retaliancy on the side deck, just because it covers a lot of matchups. I mean, it covers the Snake Eye deck because of Original, it covers White Forest because of the Azamina package, it covers Memento because of the Memento Fusion, and then it also beats Gem Knight because of, I think it is Dispersion. Dispersion loses super hard to Retaliancy. You resolve that card against them, all they can really do is Phantom Court, summon a shit monster that doesn't do anything past turn there. The Merry Christmas, your deck sucks. Okay, I'm obviously not lying, you can do more than that. You can make an SP first and then make a Phantom Cards, but you will need so many resources that Retaliancy still did its job correctly. So you understand again what I'm trying to do and trying to say. And also when you hit Gem Knight with Retaliancy at this point, their Dispersion is not going to be sending Seraphim, obviously, because it's going to get banished, which means no recursion, no extra level 4 pushes, no rank 4s, no... In the TCG, it's going to be Infernal Flame Banshee into the Nemesis engine, so I guess this might be one of the ways that you kind of mitigate the impact of Retaliancy, but you're going to have to start with a rank 4, which is unrealistic, because then how the hell are you making Phantom Courts? You're not. So you're usually always going to be going to the same sequencing, and trust me when I say that Retaliancy is very good against Gem Knight. So if Gem Knight ever becomes a good deck in the TCG, you know how to beat them. And no, don't worry, they're not going to be an FTK deck just because Konami made sure that all the new powerful cards that they just printed, they include an effect where if you want to use their effects that are very powerful, your opponent takes half effect damage, I believe, for the rest of the turn, which is a very balanced mechanic. Very good way of fixing the problem of, yeah, this deck is only really just seen as an FTK deck, but could it actually be a real Gem Knight deck? And again, Konami did a great job at reviving back a deck that was just a gimmick. Speaking of gimmick, it would be nice to see Gimmick Puppet also turn into something other than just an FTK deck, although you can argue that Gimmick Puppet, even outside of the FTK, is still like an actual scary deck. It can do some nice things. And it's actually not too bad going second just because the field spell is so annoying. But yeah, this deck is very broken. It has 17 hand traps if I recall correctly, so 5, 8, 10, 14, 17, as well as 3 other non-engine cards that are technically cards that could have been hand traps, so the cross out, the double call by the grave, so 20 non-engine, as well as maxing out on the starters, which I believe is 16 in the OCG because the bonfire is at 1. So 3, 6, 9, and then 12, 15, and 16. There you go. Okay, you know what? I actually know Ryzeal by heart just because honestly the deck is very predictable. But yeah, 16 starters, that's like a 3.6% chance, something like that, I believe, in a 40 card deck of getting your stuff going, so the deck is very consistent. And again, with 17 hand traps, bro, you're in a good position. And you only play 3 undesirable cards in the deck to draw. So Node Ryzeal, which is not like terrible to draw, the field spell, which is also arguably not terrible to draw in the plugin. The only issue is when you draw like these cards and a bunch of hand traps, or even when you draw like these cards and like a starter, but your starter gets stopped and then you have like no extra pushes. But if your starter is X-Ryzeal, then you know you can still special summon your Node, you can still normal summon a Molchemy Foros, which is the reasoning why the Molchemies are seeing a lot of play in Ryzeal, because they're level 4, so there's inherent synergy. And in the extra deck, you can see 2 copies of Twins of the Eclipse, which is because the card is just so powerful. You're going to send it right away on your first turn, and you want a second copy of it because in the grind game, your X-Ryzeal is going to be your best friend at recovering when you're on low resources. So you just send Twins of the Eclipse, you revive back your Detonator or Duo Drive, and then it becomes virtually impossible for your opponent to like have enough interruptions to stop you, again, in a grind game. So yeah, I agree with 2 Duo Drives, I agree with 2 Detonators, I agree with 2 Twins of the Eclipse, I agree with the Dweller. I don't know if you need 2 copies of Mirror Logic Aggregator. I think this is overkill. And then everything else makes a lot of sense. The Donner Dagger for hire is because he is playing Nibiru, and also he is, I guess, kind of scared of having a Nibiru token that is just an inconvenience for X-Ryzeal, because now you control a non-level or rank 4 monster, so your X-Ryzeal cannot search. So again, I really understand every single decision. Oh, by the way, another undesirable card is the Plasma Hole. This card I would actually side instead of main decking it, just because I don't think it's a great card to draw on game 1. I mean, especially if you're going second. But I mean, if you're going first, then it's fine, I guess. It's just an extra interruption, but you can consider it a win more. In the side deck, we are seeing 0 copies of Artifact Lancia, Chaos Hunter, and Molchemy Maliss, or I guess the new name is Molchemy Meows, something stupid like that, obviously, because the monster is basically Mew from Pokemon. But yeah, no Lancia means no reason to play Archfiend Seraph in the extra deck, because obviously you can't search it, which I kind of think is a little bit of a waste, because now if you face Maliss, then it is pure RNG. Like, you gotta draw Furos or Nibiru or else you lose, because Ash, Veiler, and Imperm against the deck, very weak. Very, very weak. If you Veiler a Dormouse, all they really need is like a Skystriker, Hornet Drones, or a Bestial Monster, and your Veiler really did nothing, so it's really bad. And also Ghost Ogre, really bad if they don't have to make a Link 2. So again, same problem if you encounter like the Bestial engine, or the Skystriker engine, or the Kashtira engine. Literally anything that is not like pure Malice is not gonna lose to Ghost Ogre, basically, because you don't have to make Hardguard Lizardos. So honestly, I'm really not a big fan of Ghost Ogre. That's the reason why this guy is only playing one, and then he's playing all the other cards that can beat a duo drive, so that the Nibiru can resolve, which again makes a lot of sense. It's very coherent. Anyways, for Maliss now, okay, so this guy is explaining how the Griffin build is gaining a lot in popularity in the OCG. So there's pros and cons between Terahertz and Griffin. Obviously, Griffin means that you do not lose to... Griffin means that you lose it to a little harder to board breakers, because Terahertz obviously can send, what's-his-face looking ass, the Cybers, the Zavworm. Although, to be completely honest with you, it's irrelevant, because nobody's really trying to side board breakers against this deck anyway, so who cares? This deck has severe consistency issues, and I mean actual consistency problems and a half, because we're only seeing 2 field spells, not 3 or 4 field spells. Obviously, yeah, sure, there's the 2 Gold Stars, there's 1 Allure of Darkness, which I think is really dumb when you're playing hand traps. Allure of Darkness only makes sense if you're playing like board breakers, like the Skystriker engine, because you can draw into like Engage, which is very sacky if you have like Terraforming and another Allure or something. And you can also draw into like Imperm and Impulse, which are good going second, even though there's a little bit of conflicting with Dotscaper, but everything else is fine. So that's the build that's circulating right now by Pack and everyone, and Jib. So it's just a build that plays, I think, only 3 different hand traps, the Bestials, Imperm, and Impulse, and then you play Allure of Darkness, and you basically try to turbo out into your deck and then draw the breakers to beat Ryzeal going second. And going first, you're playing the more consistent deck. You're playing the deck that plays the engine that actually beats Veiler, Ogre, and all that BS. So yeah, it's a very coherent strategy, and if you get hit by Lancia post game 1, I mean, it is what it is, but if you get hit by Chaos Hunter, I guess you can argue that there's outs, because your Engage can search Widow Anchor, and then you can negate the Chaos Hunter. So yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Apart from that, yeah, whatever. I mean, this deck is kind of like very standard in the OCG. They're not really trying to be creative, because the Kashtira engine does not exist here. The Fiendsmith engine technically could be played in Maliss. Nobody's really ever tried to do that in the OCG, but in the TCG, everybody always tries everything, just because we have so many engines that they don't have. Again, we have the Kashtira engine, they don't. They have like 1 Unicorn or something, and they have 0 Fenriers. It's ridiculous. But yeah, the Skystriker engine, I guess they also could have thought about that. I don't know. But yeah, 2, 4, 6, 9, 11, 14, 17 freaking hand traps. That is a fat number. And how many starters? 3, 6, 8, 10. That is absolutely nothing. So only 10 1-card starters. And honestly, 4 of them are kind of mediocre. They are not really like the full thing. I mean, Gold Sark is obviously better than drawing the field spell. And then obviously you have like some other 2-card combos like Shashir Cat and a Bestial that also gets you there. And I guess Allure of Darkness could kind of get you there, but I don't know. And yeah, there's like also a baby starter in the form of the Dotscaper. It can kind of make Terahertz, which is, it's fine. Personally, even though I think Maliss is a great deck, it is not the kind of deck that I would be able to like, you know, bring to like an event, just because I'm scared of people just sacking you with Lancia and stuff. But in this article, this guy explains how he was barely facing any mirror matches. So even without Artifact Lancia and Dominus Impulse, he was in a position where it was fine. He was really just facing Ryzeal every single time, which is why there's massive Ryzeal hate. Like, I think this is actually overkill. When you're siding freaking, what, 11 cards going second against Ryzeal, and even going first, your entire extra deck is for Ryzeal. I really do believe that this is overkill, because what are you siding out? Are you siding out, like, hand traps for other hand traps? You might as well well, actually, you can't. But yeah, you're gonna have to, like, side out the Bestials, maybe, the Drolls or something, the Allure of Darkness, the Kralsa, the Caldby. A lot of weird cards, maybe the Dotscaper going second, I don't know, just so that you can fit in all of those cards, which is, I don't know, it's kind of copium. And if you are facing Lancia, then you pretty much lose on the spot. But yeah, this is, by the way, something very interesting that is being explained here, how sometimes, even if you go, like, undefeated in an event, even if you win, there's still room for improvement, because sometimes you really just have, like, a very lucky run. You play against, like, all the decks that don't really, like, counter you, but then another tournament right after, your RNG is going to be different, because you're going to be playing against maybe the bad matchups, or the decks that you couldn't afford to respect, because this is kind of like a weird triangular format in a way. Not really, but Ryzeal and Maliss are the two nasty decks, and then there's a bunch of other decks afterwards, but you can't really respect everyone, so you gotta pick your poison. Unfortunately, I'm not a really huge fan of those kind of formats, but this is the reason why people are oversiding right now. Yeah, I guess this is like a little more balanced, because there's a bunch of going first cards, and still like 5 cards for, you know, the mirror match, when, you know, you technically should prepare like game 1 for the mirror match, because this is the most likely matchup you will be facing at the whatever I was gonna say at the YCS, but actually I think there's a YCS going on right now in China. I mean, right now, it depends on when you're watching this, because this might take like 10 days to like upload, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know, I didn't really learn anything from this, but the article is definitely interesting, and I do share this same sentiment, actually. Yeah, sometimes you can do very well and just feel like you still could have done more. Okay, this Blue Eyes player is actually very good, because he managed to get second place at a tournament with the exact same deck list, apparently. Now, this is rather weird, because even though this looks like a great list, and honestly it is for the most part, I do have some issues. I don't like the Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. I think it is completely useless, no purpose in playing it. I don't like the talent, that I think is random. But my big problem, actually, is the fact that he's only playing 1 Wishes for Eyes of Blue. Because this card is a great starter, and you might as well just play 3 copies of it. That way you have more starters, obviously, because 3, 6, 9, 12, and then 13, it looks like a lot. It's really not that much. You really need 15 starters. That way you have a 91.93% chance of drawing one of your 15 starters. That's much better. Otherwise, you will break, unfortunately. I guess you can argue, yeah, if you have like 2 copies of Effect Veiler, you can make Hieratic Seal, and then Hieratic Seal can, you know, summon Magnamut, and then end phase that searches for another barrel, and then you eventually play the game. That is true, actually. Yes, you can make Hieratic Seal using 2 Veilers, or 2 Drolls, yeah, by going to the Link 1 twice. And yeah, you're turning a spellcaster into a dragon, so yes, it makes no sense, but yeah, trust me. The side deck actually does respect just about everyone, but no Ultimate Slayer. The extra deck space is not like ultra tight, but he actually chose not to play Crimson Dragon, because he sees it as a win more, and I actually can see this, because when you are going to Crimson Dragon, that means that you have 2 level 9 synchros on the field, which is very difficult to achieve through all of your opponent's hand shops, and also you are playing into Nibiru if you summon 2 level 9 synchros, so being in a position where you have Crimson Dragon means that you already won the game, so you can definitely say that Crimson Dragon is a win more. And also it takes a lot of space in the extra deck, so the extra space that you get in the extra deck could be invested into more copies of the Link 1, which means a better grind game, obviously, because you can top deck like a Droll in simplified game state, and then you summon it, you make the Link 1, tribute, summon back Blue Eyes, revive back the Maiden of White, and then Maiden of White effect plays back the True Light, and then True Light effect plays something, etc. So it is definitely very good that you can play 3 copies of this card. I have also been in that same position where I was wondering, how is my extra deck gonna, you know, be planned out when I play Blue Eyes, and if I gotta consider the existence of hand traps, and especially Nibiru, because again, when you are playing into when you're playing the Crimson Dragon combo, you're definitely gonna run the risk of getting Nibiru'd. That is it for this OCG metagame breakdown. Again, yes, there is the YCS in China that is being held currently right now, but again, I really have no idea when you're gonna be seeing this video. Maybe it's gonna be today or tomorrow. I don't even know. Yeah, this is the drawback with having to pre-record videos and being very late, of course, as always. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.